Joe fans, I'm JoeFan82 here with a Patreon exclusive video. This video was released on patreon.com a while ago, and it's exclusive for them, and then I'm releasing it later on YouTube. So I just got in the final 12 figures from the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, and I need to make some room for those on the shelf. You can see they're kind of, some of them are stacked in here behind me on the shelf above my books. But I have a shelf over here that has a sort of a holding bin for new figures that I have waiting to review. And it's just getting a little crowded because I'm so far behind on stuff. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm not using my normal microphone. This is just kind of a quick down and dirty video that I thought of at the last minute. So I got a bunch of Marvel Infinite series figures for Christmas, and I'm just gonna open them up. I was saving them, to review, look at in package first and then out of the package, but whatever, let's just open them up and see how they look. This video was brought to you by water. Drink water, it's good for you. And Wonder Woman, this is my Wonder Woman glass. Just FYI, my favorite Wonder Woman was Linda Carter. Not a huge fan of Gal Gadot, although she has grown on me. Linda Carter will always be my Wonder Woman. All right, so I opened up two figures before I decided to do this video. So the two I opened up already are Daredevil, and these are 1/18 scale figures. They're in line with the Marvel Universe figures, but now they're called Marvel Infinite series. So the first one I opened was Daredevil. He's in his red costume from the comic, not the TV show, and he comes with this accessory. He has those two I'm gonna say sticks, which is wrong. There's a name for it, but I don't know. But they attach together, and you can pull them apart, so you can hold them in both hands. And then he's got a holster on his leg there that you can put them in, like that. So that's kind of cool. This guy, his left leg was a little bowed out, still is coming right out of the package, so I'm not too happy with that. He does have rocker ankles and a little bit of a sloppy paint job on his face there. Sorry, I only have one light set up here, so it's a little dark on this side and bright on this side, but if you can see, it's right there, just a little bit kind of sloppy. So but the logo on him looks great. The paint on the body looks nice wash over it. So yeah, Daredevil. Nice face sculpt, really nice head sculpt there on him. That's Daredevil. And then we have Big Time Spider-Man. I have no knowledge of this version of Spider-Man. I don't know what his story is, but here he is in a black and neon green costume. This one also had a bit of a bow-legged situation going on right out of the package. I'm pretty sure with some heat, if you apply some heat, that you can kind of straighten these out. I mean, I was able to get them into a standing pose that looked pretty natural. So I'm not happy with the lack of articulation on this Spider-Man. Spider-Man, you want more articulation than others, so no wrist articulation at all on this guy, which is unfortunate. You want to be able to do his classic, move there, which his hand is sculpted that way, but he can only do it sideways. He can't do it, like that or like that. So yeah, does have rocker ankles, but and his head really can only move side to side, not up and down. So there's that guy. Moving on, I've got, oh, I forgot one guy that I already opened, and that is Mr. Sandman, the Spider-Man villain. Really like the sculpt on this. The hands are really nice, well detailed. So I mean, right down here when it comes out at the thighs is a little bit wide, but other than that, he's pretty good. So I have to say, this and these other figures, the first two figures I opened, and I assume the rest, they have holes on the bottom of their feet to go onto a stand, but these stands that I have, these generic stands, won't fit. The pegs on here are too big, so that is unfortunate. Sandman, if you try pretty hard, you can kind of force it on there and he might stay if you don't touch him, but the Spider-Man and Daredevil, the holes on the feet are much too small, so that's a bit disappointing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, because it's hard to stand these guys up on a shelf, especially when you have little kids like I do, and if they bump into it, everything falls over and then you got to pick it all up. So just easier when they're on a stand. So I have to figure out what I'm doing with that. All right, so for let's go ahead and open up this guy, which is I guess a variant of that Sandman figure, and this is Sandman, but he's all sandy. It's Sandy Sandman. And I'm not thrilled with the packaging for this Infinite series of figures. There's, not much going on the front. These logos are for the main 4 Avengers that everybody knows from the movies. So I guess the average Joe walking into a store, oh, I know Iron Man, what's this guy? On the back is just a picture of the figure with one sentence description, and then the same thing in other languages, and then 3 other figures on the bottom. You got Beast, Hawkeye, Daredevil. So nothing too great, no artwork or anything. So yeah, this is just a repaint of that Sandman that we got. And they really, on these figures, are really putting them into the plastic very securely. These are they don't come out very easily at all. So yeah, this guy, he's same excuse me, same exact figure, just all sand colored. So that's kind of cool. And his eyes are whited out. He's got no pupils in his eyes. Makes him look a little bit more menacing and a little creepy. So there you go. And on the package, I forgot to mention, this says Marvel's Sandman. Not Sandman, Marvel's Sandman. So there's obviously some kind of trademark issue going on there, I think. Because, let's look, because if we look at this guy, it just says Bishop, not Marvel's Bishop, just Bishop. So, and all the other figures I have here say Marvel's and then the name. So it's just kind of interesting. This is Bishop. You might remember him, this look, from the X-Men animated series from the 90s. And I'm not sure when he made his comic book appearance. I remember reading X-Men Adventures, the X-Men Adventures comic book, which was based on the animated series. So in my mind, he first appeared in the comics at the same time as the animated series, but I have a feeling it was before that. Excuse me, I gotta get a little sip of water here. So this guy comes with some accessories. Now, I did hear something about this figure before I got him. And we'll see if that's how big of an issue that is. So, really pretty good representation of that classic 90s look for the character, which is my favorite look because that's kind of what I grew up with him having. Great head sculpt, great paint apps on this guy. The issue that I had heard of, which is true, is that he does not have sculpted on gloves. His gloves are just painted on. They painted blue over his hands to simulate the gloves, which is a little lazy, but they're cutting costs. So, I mean, it's not that big a deal, but it would have been nice just some kind of little cuff on the wrist. Articulation, again, this guy, no wrist articulation on here. Let's see. He actually, so Bishop, so he's got the long hair and this covering his neck, but his head still has a wider range of motion than that Spider-Man figure. So, go figure. Pun intended. Yeah, this guy looks great. He's got rocker ankles, great sculpt. He does have a couple accessories here. If I can get them out of the package. One large gun, very futuristic looking weapon. This is great video content where you can just provide some dead air while your viewers watch you struggle to unpackage something, and a smaller handgun. These are both light gray, and nice detail on the sculpt on the weapons. Does he hold them? That's the question. And he does. So, well, his left hand is a fist, so it's molded into a fist. He's not holding anything in that hand, but his right hand, see, things like that. Yeah, he can hold it pretty good. See, that's where alternate hands would come in handy. You know, two closed fists, two open fists. So, yeah, so far this is the best figure of the lot, I think. From pure nostalgia's sake and the sculpt and the paint apps, pretty good. And Yeah, same issue on the feet though. He's got some smallish holes on his feet. He's not going to fit on the figure stands I have. Alright, so we've got just 4 more figures here. And let's go with Beast. We'll stick with the X-Men. And this is Beast. This is Blue Furry Beast, Marvel's Beast. His little bio says superhuman strength, ape-like agility, and a PhD in biochemistry. Hank McCoy is Beast. And open him up here. So I'm just thinking a really cool thing they could have done with this figure, and even they could have charged a little bit more, would be putting him in a lab coat, giving him some scientific equipment, maybe some beakers and a computer and other stuff, but he doesn't come with any accessories. It's just the figure. Alright, so here he is out of the package, and this is a pretty darn good looking beast. This would have benefited a great deal from an alternate head. So he's got his sort of battle ready angry beast mode face sculpt going on, which looks great. But that's not the typical Beast we see all the time. Usually he's in the lab working or doing something besides fighting, you know. So that would have been nice to have just another head, maybe with some glasses. So you could have him, you know, doing something besides looking like he's gonna rip your head off. But great sculpt, great paint apps. I will say that the shoulder joints on these figures so far have been really tight. And it seems like I just moved his shoulder up and some of the plastic kind of shaved off. It's really tight in here. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, that's pretty tight. I mean, you don't want your joints to be loose and floppy, but you don't want them so tight that it's a struggle to move them. You feel like you're going to break the joint. Some great molded on hair on his arms, and so his whole body has sort of a texture to it, like it's fur, which is really cool. And he's got his classic 90s look. He's just wearing the dark blue briefs and the yellow belt, and he's got some rocker ankles, and yeah, and he does not have any articulation in the midsection, which is unfortunate. They would have benefited from that, I think. But yeah, he's looking pretty good, pretty darn good. So this is my favorite incarnation of the Beast too. Didn't really like the way that they had him and some other mutants have a secondary mutation in the comics, and they kind of changed their appearance. He made him ended up looking more feline-esque, and I wasn't a big fan of that. I'm not sure what he looks like now. I think he might actually look more closely to this look now. And then we have Gray Beast. It doesn't say that down here, it just says Marvel's Beast. It says the same thing here. So this is similar to the Sandman that we opened earlier. This is sort of a variant of that Beast. And this is basically same figure, but with a different head sculpt and different paint app. Excuse me, let me just get a little sip of water. So there was a period in the comics where Beast was gray. I think he was gray first. Well, at first he wasn't covered in hair, and then he had a secondary mutation where he grew fur all over, and I think that was this look. He was all gray, and then he turned all blue. But this guy has a completely different head sculpt than this one. So, pretty interesting, and it looks just like how he did in the comics, which is great. Yeah, same look and feel for this guy. Yeah, so you got two good Beast figures there. All right, final two figures opening today. This one is Marvel's Black Cat. And to be honest, I'm not too excited about this figure. Just, she's not looking great in the package. So, oh, and on the back it says, Black Cat prowls rooftops, jinxing enemies and slashing them with her claws. Black Cat's always been an interesting character. She's straddled the line, or straddled the fence between good guy and bad guy. I'm mostly familiar with her from the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s. Okay, so there she is, and let's see, pretty nice face sculpt. I don't know if you can, if I can get it to focus on her instead of me. It's a little dark on this side too, but nice face sculpt and great paint apps. So you'll see she's got her signature. Whoa, my camera just kind of crazy. She's got her signature mask around her eyes, and her eyes, the paint, they got the paint on the mask perfect, and the eyes really nice. So good job there. She's got her white hair, her choker on, and white fur coming off her costume. She has rocker ankles, and yeah, a little bit lack of articulation in the wrists. Other than that, she seems like a pretty decent figure. So I'm a little bit happier with her out of the package than in. It looks like she might be a little wonky, but I think she's okay. So that's Marvel's Black Cat. And now for the final figure for today, we have Marvel's Hawkeye. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, that doesn't look like Hawkeye. Well, this is Hawkeye from the comics, not the movies. This is what he wore in the comics, at least for several years. I don't think he's wearing this anymore. But a nice shot of the figure on the back. And it says, with Hawkeye's elite archery skills and specialized arrows, evil is the bullseye. So here we go. I don't know much about Hawkeye. He wasn't in many of the comics that I read or have read. I did have a couple issues of West Coast Avengers, and I think he was in those in this costume. Alright, so there he is. His costume is blue and purple. My favorite color is blue, but I'm also a big fan of purple. So this is working for me. He's got a nice head sculpt. He's actually got a smile on. You don't see too many figures that are smiling nowadays, but he's got a smile sculpted on there. And looks like this figure has the same issue that the other ones did, with some tight shoulder joints. Not sure. So I'm trying to see what his range of motion is in his shoulders, but it's pretty stuck there. He's got, so this is a flexible plastic, is little web gear here, and this coming down is a kind of a loose flexible plastic. And he's got some nice accessories, if I can get them out of the package. So he's got his arrows in their thing there. He's got his bow with no string, and one loose arrow, which I'm guessing he can't hold. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's it's way too small. He's not gonna be able to hold it. Yeah, so, but I'm guessing he can hold the bow in his left hand. Yeah. And there you go. He's looking pretty good. Now, what you're supposed to do with this arrow, I'm not sure. You know, so his right hand is molded as if he's pulling the string back, but there's no string on the bow, and there's nothing for this arrow to rest on. So I don't know, pretend like it's flying through the air. And this, you can just be holding that. These have now it would have been nice if this, which is got a bunch of arrows molded in there, had a space where you could put this in. That would have been nice. Something we would have probably seen if this was a G.I. Joe figure. But I mean, this is nicely sculpted. It looks great, and this figure looks great. I'm not thrilled with the shoulder joints being so tight, but other than that, he's looking pretty good. So yeah, that is clearing up a lot of space on my shelf, so I'm going to be able to move over a bunch of new stuff to get reviewed. So this has been helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, unboxing some figures. Hope all of you are having a good week and month and year, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.